Welcome to our chemistry lesson. The topic is gas laws. This is a topic which is found in two subjects. It is found in physics, at the same time it is found in chemistry. So you will realize that they share most of the concepts, which actually, it can assist any of the physics and chemistry students. But the ones I'm going to discuss here is based on chemistry lesson. So now, when we talk about gas laws, we are talking about the laws that govern the gases. We have two types of, gases. We have the real gas and the ideal gas. An ideal gas is actually a gas that obeys the gas laws completely, and a real gas is the gas that do not obey the gas laws completely. So we have three gas laws which we are going to discuss right now, but two of them belongs entirely on chemistry, then one will be added later on the side of physics. We have the Boyle's law, we have the Joules's law, and we have the pressure law. Those are the three main gas laws that we are going to see. So any gas that obeys the three gas laws that we have just mentioned is known as an ideal gas. So in reality, it is so difficult to find an ideal gas, that is, to find a gas that obeys the gas laws completely, because of what we are going to discuss right now. And again, at the same time, before we end this lesson, we are supposed to explain the reasons for the variation of the various factors in gas laws. So, starting with the first one, that is the Boyle's law. Then we have the Joules's law. Then we have the pressure law. These are the ones that we are going to discuss in this topic. Whenever we are discussing about the gas laws, there are some things that you are supposed to know concerning each one of these. First of all, you need to know the statement of the law. How do we state this law? After now knowing how to state the law, we go ahead. Then we give the mathematical expression of the law. That is how are the two factors that govern the law relates. Then after that, we look at the graphs. How do we sketch the graph of a Joules's law, Boyle's law, and the pressure law? Then after that, we explain the kinetic theory of these gases. Why is that when one factor is increased or decreased, it affects the other one? That is also what we are going to explain in this topic. There is another law, again, that is, after combining the three here, we come with another one known as the combined gas law, which in this case, we are going to see it together with the one I've written on the board. So let me start with the Boyle's law. When we talk about the Boyle's law, it's a law that governs or that relates pressure and volume. Actually, you will realize that in the three gases that we are talking about, we shall be relating with the following. We shall be relating with pressure, we shall be relating with volume, and we shall be relating with temperature. So the three are the one that we are going to relate about. So if a given gas law has two of these, for example now, in Boyle's law, it has or it relates pressure and volume, meaning temperature is not available in Boyle's law. So temperature is the one that is constant in this case. So Joules's law, for example, will relate volume and temperature, meaning the pressure would be constant. And the pressure law will relate pressure and temperature, meaning the volume is the one that is going to be constant. So any missing factor is the one that is going to be taken as a constant. So in each of the law here, we will start by looking at the mathematical expression, that is how the two factors relate. Then we state the law, and then after stating the law, we sketch the graph from the same. And then maybe later on, we look at the mathematical equations concerning the same. So if we talk about the Boyle's law relates pressure and volume. And the two here, they relate in an inverse way, meaning when one factor goes up, the other one goes down. When you increase volume, the pressure goes down. When you increase pressure, the volume goes down. They are inversely proportional to each other. Now, in this case, it is when the temperature is kept constant. Now, when we say mathematical expression, that one means pressure and volume are constant. What do we mean in that case? It means what? When we have pressure 1 and volume 1, they will give you a certain value which is constant. That is pressure 2 and volume 2, which is also the same as pressure 3 and volume 3, and the process continues. This is what we call the mathematical expression. P stands for pressure and V stands for volume. So, but we always give up the second one so that it can guide you when you are carrying out your mathematical expression. So when we are stating this Boyle's law, we state it with reference to the given values here. That the volume of a given mass of a gas is inversely proportional to its pressure when the temperature is kept constant. That is how it should be stated. Now, because the two here, they are inversely proportional, it can be well represented in a graph. We can put it in a form of a graph. Then, after putting it in form of a graph, remember we are still in Boyle's law. It can give you two types of graphs, as you are going to see it. We have the first one here. When we plot a graph of pressure versus volume, it is giving us a negative gradient graph, which is obtained that way. But we always give it in form of a smooth curve, this way. Look at my curve here. It is a suspended curve. It does not touch the x-axis, it does not touch the y-axis. And the reason is, the best you can explain why it does not touch the x and the y-axis is because if it touched one of the axes, then it means now the volume of the gas is 0, which is not actually true. You cannot make to cool a gas until its volume becomes 0, because by the time it is becoming 0, it is in liquid form and even in solid form. So it can't make to be 0. So a graph or a smooth curve should be left suspended that way. That is the first option when we are plotting a graph or a curve of the Boyle's law. The other option here is when we have pressure against the inverse of volume. When you get the pressure against the inverse of volume, we will get a straight line from the origin. So those are the two graphs that you are supposed to sketch as far as the Boyle's law is concerned. As far as the Boyle's law is concerned, these are the ones that you are supposed to sketch. And there are also the graphs that will enable you to describe or to verify Boyle's law. Whenever you are going to describe an experiment to verify Boyle's law, you should end by drawing a graph of pressure versus the inverse of volume. Then if you get a straight line, then that gas obeys gas laws. Or now you will be verifying the Boyle's law. Or you simply plot pressure versus volume, and then you get a graph that has a negative gradient, the way I had said earlier. So that is how it should be. That is how these gases behave. Now let me explain in terms of kinetic theory what you are supposed to do as far as the Boyle's law is concerned. Now, in a given container, with a given amount of gas, with a given amount of gas particles, if these are the particles of a gas, which we can define it as molecules, if you increase the volume, the pressure will go down. What is the reason behind that? Why is that when we reduce the volume, the pressure goes up? one thing that you need to know is that the pressure is caused by the collision of the molecules or the particles. So when you increase the volume, you are reducing the rate of collision. That one reduces the pressure. But when you reduce the volume, the molecules come close to each other and they collide more. Their rate of collision increases. That one increases the pressure. So that's how actually what happens when you increase the volume. Increasing the volume, you are giving more space for the molecules. Hence, their rate of collision decreases, making them to collide at a lower rate. So the pressure is going to be low. That is how it should be. Then, as we are moving to the calculation part of the Boyle's law, before you start working on any calculation, first of all, we relate our pressure 1, volume 1 is going to be pressure 2, volume 2. But one thing that you need to know is this pressure, if you are provided with pressures, they should be with the same units. Sometimes you are given pressure 1 to be in atmospheres, then you are given pressure 2 to be in millimeters of mercury. So you are supposed to harmonize the two so that now you can have, you work with the same units. The same with volume. You are supposed to harmonize them. If you are given two volumes, one in meters cubic, the other one in centimeters cubic, you convert to any of the units. Then now you work with that question. So when you are given this, of course there is no temperature, we only have pressure, we only have volume, so we can deny you volume 1, then we ask you to look for it. For example, we can have these few questions here concerning on how we are supposed to work on this calculation. I will read, you write, then you work on it. A given mass of a gas occupies a volume of 200 centimeters cubic. A given mass of a gas occupies a volume of 200 centimeters cubic at a pressure of 5 atmospheres. Then the question is, at what pressure will the gas have a volume of 800 centimeters cubic? At what pressure will the gas have a volume of 800 centimeters cubic? So you have been asked of the pressure. Before you work on that question, just write down the available values. You write down the, if it is Boyle's law, you write down the formula. Then you just go through the question simply. You're told a given mass of a gas occupies a volume of 200. So let that one be volume 1. 200 centimeters cubic. At a pressure of 5 atmospheres. Let that be pressure 1. 5 atmospheres. You continue with the question. At what pressure? So now they're asking you for pressure 2. At what pressure will the gas have a volume of 800 centimeters cubic? So you have volume 2, which is 800 centimeters cubic. So what are you supposed to do in this case? You make the pressure 2 to be the subject of the formula, which is going now to be pressure 1 volume 1 divided by volume 2. So pressure 2 is going to be pressure 1, which is 5, times volume 1, which is 200, over volume 2, which is 800. Then you will get your pressure 2. Then what will be the units of pressure 2? The unit of pressure 2 will be the units of pressure 1. So it's going to be atmospheres. Use your calculator to get this. It is going to be in terms of atmospheres. Now that if you want to know whether you have gotten your right answer or wrong, the volume has been increased from 200 to 800. So we expect your answer to be less than 5 because as the volume goes up, the pressure also comes down. That is an example of that question. Another example is this. A gas occupies 500 centimeters cubic at a pressure of 760 millimeters of mercury. If the pressure is doubled, what volume will the gas occupy? Same thing, you are just supposed to work on it in a very simple manner. Just relax, Someone who knows what he or she is doing, don't rush. But people who are doing guesswork are the first one to just, take their pen and rush to the question without knowing what to do. So here, you have been told that the gas had a volume of 500, meaning that is volume 1. Let it be the 500 centimeters cubic. Let's continue. At a pressure of 760, so that is pressure 1, 760 millimeters of mercury. You proceed with the question. If the pressure is doubled, what's the meaning of the word doubled? If the pressure is doubled. So now, our pressure 2 is going to be 760 times 2. To double means to have it at 2 times. Then you are told what volume would the gas occupy? Now they're asking about volume 2 here. So you simply make volume 2 the subject of the formula. So it's going to be volume 2 is going to be pressure 1 volume 1 divided by pressure 2. So it's going to be pressure 1 is 760 times 500 all over. Now our the pressure 2 is going to be 760 times 2 because it was doubled. Then what will be your answer? Of course, you just key in your values in a calculator, then you take the answer. And what are the units of the volume you are getting? They're just the units of volume 1. Then, because the pressure was doubled, do you expect the volume to be up or down? That's the question. Now, because the pressure was doubled from 760 now times 2, which is going to be 1,520, we expect the volume to go down in that case, but the units will be in centimeters cubic. Our second last question is reading, a certain mass of a gas occupies 250 centimeters cubic at 25 degrees Celsius and 750 millimeters of mercury. Calculate its volume at 25 degrees Celsius if the pressure changes to 760 millimeters of mercury in SI units. So here we have two rules, SI units. So first of all, we have to unpack the question. We look at the available values. So you read the question and read again, as you record the available values there. So a certain mass of a gas occupies 250 centimeters cubic. That one becomes our volume 1, 250 centimeters cubic. And the temperature 1 is 25 degrees Celsius, and pressure 1 here is 750 millimeters of mercury. So you see here we have 3 factors or values which are perceived to be the one in the first condition. That is the volume, temperature, and pressure. Let's look at the question again. Calculate its volume at, now, temperature 2. It is telling us it is 25 degrees Celsius. If the pressure changes to 760, now pressure 2 becomes 760 millimeters of mercury. Now, this one, as you can see, the temperature remains constant, so it's not going to assist anywhere here. So we are going to cancel out the issue of temperature. Then we work now with the volume, pressure, and pressure 2. So from what we said, P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2. Whereby P1 is 750 times V1 250. It is equal to pressure 2 is 760 times volume 2. This is what now we are looking for. Volume 2 is what we don't have, and that's what we are calculating, times V2. I will not wait for you, because you are also supposed to participate. Now, volume 2 is given by 750 times 250 divided by 760. you will get your volume 2, and the units for the volume 2 are the same as the units for the volume 1, but now the question has given you instruction that you give in the SI unit. The SI unit of volume is not centimeters cubic, it is in meters cubic. Now, convert from centimeters cubic to meters cubic. 1 meter is equals to 100 centimeters. 1 meter square is equals to 10,000 centimeters square. 1 meter cubic is equals to 1,000,000 centimeters cubic. So you can make the conversion, and then you get your answer in the SI unit of volume, which is meters cubic. Our last question, use the kinetic theory of matter to explain how a decrease in the volume of a sample of a fixed mass of a gas affects its pressure at a constant temperature. So it's what, like just I explained in the beginning of the lesson, what happens when you increase or decrease the volume of a gas. Now, when you decrease, the question is talking about what happens when you decrease. When you decrease the volume, the pressure of course will go up. But now, in terms of kinetic theory, how can we explain this? When you decrease the volume of a gas, the rate of collision of the particles increases. That's why the pressure increases. So it's about, or it's a matter of the rate of collision, because pressure is actually caused by the collision of the particles. So when we reduce the volume, the particles come closer to each other, hence increasing the rate of collision. Thank you. Let's meet in the next lesson.